All right, folks, I'm just going to go over this question where you are checking if something is normal or not. So is it a good time to use table A? Yes or no? So the idea is we're going to take these 36 numbers and put them in the calculator. Just a reminder, you're going to stat. You're going to edit. That's where your lists live. I would take the time to empty any lists that you don't need anymore. And the way you do that, the easiest way to do that is to, let's say I had a bunch of stuff in here. Instead of just deleting every part of it, is I would put the cursor on the name of the list, hit clear. What happens is at the bottom where it says list 2 equals, it goes away, but it's not empty yet. And then when I hit enter, it goes away. All right, so this is my list. So a couple ways to kind of pause and double check that you didn't miss anything. So for example, these are in rows of 12. Maybe when I go to number 12, I can check if this is actually 15.3. So I'm looking at the bottom of my screen here. It says list 1, third item. So I'm looking for 12. That's a 15.3. Maybe I'll look at the 24 and check that it's 16.4, just so I did notice that if I messed up. So it says list 1, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24th thing is 16.4. That is good. All right. I might want to double check. They told us the mean and deviation, but let me see if I can get that. So I'm going to go to stat. This time I'm going to calculate middle column. So go to the right. One of our stats for list 1. By the way, if you don't have a menu, list 1 is default. So if you definitely put in list 1, don't worry about it. Just go. And here at the top, 15.825, yes, and standard deviation 1.217. So that means I don't have a typo, right? Okay. Now, option number 1, to see if my data is normal, if it's safe to use this fancy normal curve stuff that we're doing right now, you can just make a graph. It says a stem plot over here, but that would mean I do it by hand. I already have this list on my calculator, so I went for histogram. So I went to stat plot, second y equals. And I'm editing plot 1. Right now it's doing something that is not a histogram, so I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to make sure it's on. I'm going to choose the type of graph I want, histogram. List 1 is what I like. Now heads up, guys, zoom 9 is stat. I just hit 9. Heads up, histogram, yay. It zoomed in my histogram, excellent. Here's the one thing, zoom stat for some reason is a little funky, it's a little broken. Every single time you make a histogram, it picks really dumb numbers. So if you hit trace, it starts at 12.9, that's fine, but it ends at 13.8166. That is just bizarre every time. So go to window, this guy, this is where you fix it. And you're going to look at X scale. That's how wide the bins are, the bars. That is ridiculous. It should be a nice whole number. So I'm going to make the X scale, the width of each bar, 1. Now I could stop here. If I do stop here, then my graph would go 12.9. That's my first number. And it's going up in 1. So it'd be 12.9, 13.9, 14.9. It's okay, but I don't feel like doing that. So what I'm going to do is just make the beginning 12 so that the numbers are nice whole numbers. Zoom is what made the error happen. So I'm not going to zoom. I'm just going to go look at the graph. And I don't know if you noticed, but this doesn't look the way it did before. It's changed the look because I've changed the bin widths. Also, this guy got chopped off. So I'm also going to go back to window and make him not truncated. So that's the height on the Y, the maximum on the Y. So 10 is not enough. Maybe I go 15. All right, so histogram is good. I'm going to trace it. And as you trace, it is telling you for each bar where it starts, where it ends, and how many things are in it. So there's 1 fridge from 12 to 13 cubic feet. And if you scroll to the right, it reads the next one. So there's 1 fridge from 13 to 14. This next one is 6 fridges from 14 to 15 cubic feet. So you just read that and carefully sketch it. Heads up, fridge capacity in cubic feet is the label. And this is frequency. This is not actually a second variable. This is just how many of each of these I have. Now, I don't know about you guys, but we're checking whether this is normal, whether this is mounded and symmetrical. Mounded for sure, it's got 1 peak. Symmetrical, it's kind of up to you if this is good enough, right? If you feel like this is not your comfort level of symmetry, you could try a different method. So mounded, yes, symmetrical. And this method, sometimes you get shapes that you might not be able to tell if it's mounded and symmetrical enough. In which case, let's try number 2.